A self-managed super fund loan is still worth it in 2025 as we go into 2026. Now, these loans were really popular when they first came out in about 2008, and then their popularity took a tumble. Reason being, interest rates shot up, lack of lending options, also the rules, regulations, and the criteria that need to be met got pretty stringent. They're also really costly to set up. Bare trusts, self-managed super fund itself, plus the loan application fees, and some of the upfront fees for commercial are a little bit staggering to the average investor. But if you are thinking about using one of these, then let's unpack it in this video and talk about all the things that you need to think about and consider when putting a property into a self-managed super fund and organising the corresponding lending that you're going to need. So the lending landscape for 2025 for self-managed super funds, and how did we get here? So when self-managed super fund lending first came out in about 2008, all of the major lenders rushed in and there were great products available with almost all major lenders. Then somewhere around 2014, lending restrictions got really tightened up on this and the major lenders left the industry and the second tier lenders came in. Now that was enough to scare a lot of people away, but it needn't be. The things that you really need to know about self-managed super fund lending is what is a likely interest rate. So residential rates at the moment for these start at about 6.3 and then commercial rates can go up into the 8s. What is a likely loan to value ratio? So most people for residential is about 60% and commercial is about 70%. And who are the likely lenders? So likely lenders for self-managed super funds is usually lenders like Think Tank, First Mac, also Liberty, Latrobe are all lenders that do self-managed super funds. Also in the lending landscape is compliance. So not every one of your properties or trusts is going to need a fully audited set of tax returns and financial statements each year, but your self-managed super fund property absolutely will. This obviously comes at an extra cost, has a few hoops to jump over, but once you get the lay of the land with it, it's relatively simple to do. Setup costs is the other thing that needs to be taken into consideration. So with your self-managed super fund, you obviously got the self-managed super fund setup, your bare trust setup, your advice as to whether this is going to be appropriate for you. In the case of commercial, the loan application fees can be a little bit higher, but also remember you've got commercial valuation fees as well. So there is a bit of setup cost, but if you find the right property with the right rental return, the long-term gains can definitely be there. In a nutshell, it is hard, it is more expensive, but rewarding when done correctly. So with all of these hurdles that I've just covered, why do property investors still want to use self-managed super funds for residential or commercial investment? Well, there's a number of ideas or a number of reasons, so let's unpack them one at a time. The first is obviously tax effectiveness. Income within the fund is taxed at 15% and actually zero in pension phase, and also there's a capital gains tax discount limiting it to 10%. Which means self-managed super is one of the lowest tax environments that you can get, which is great if you're going to own a property that's going to give you a lot of cash flow or own a property that you think is going to skyrocket in value. The second one is control. In your current super fund, who's controlling it? A fund manager that you don't know. Whereas if you have a self-managed super fund and invest, then you can control what you invest in, who the tenant is, what terms you're going to borrow money over. You can control everything that is happening with your superannuation. The next one, or the next reason that people really like self-managed super funds is asset protection. It takes one of your main assets out of your personal name and then puts it in a separate entity that is outside of your personal liabilities. The next one is leverage. It gives you the ability to say, take $300,000 cash in your super fund and then go and leverage it into $1 million commercial asset. So getting a $1 million asset in your super fund with only a $300,000 cash contribution is a great way to build long-term wealth. And the last reason that people love self-managed super is strategic rent. So if you're a business owner that is currently renting a premises, you can actually buy a premises in your self-managed super fund and you be the tenant. You then pay yourself market rent and control both your premises that you operate out of and also your self-managed super fund in the one vehicle. Now, the number one question that I get asked by people that do want to invest in using their self-managed super fund is, should I buy a residential property or should I buy a commercial? Let's unpack the two and see which one might be better for you. Now, let's say you've got a $300,000 deposit for your self-managed super fund. And you're thinking, well, should I buy a residential property or should I buy a commercial property? They're both going to do very different things. So if you're buying a property that you think is high growth, then you go down the path of residential. The reason that you must have a high growth property in residential is because think about a residential property. A residential property, you're going to borrow the money for your self-managed super fund at probably a 60% loan to value ratio, and you're going to be paying about 6.3 to 6.5%. Now, residential properties usually have a net rent after expenses between 3.5% and say 4%. So therefore, you need a lower loan to value ratio because the cash flow coming out of the property itself really isn't that good, and especially when you're getting 4% in and paying 6% out, the numbers don't really stack up unless the property that you are buying is going to rocket in growth. Now, if you do find a suitable property and you're at a 60% loan to value ratio, you do the math and numbers, you quickly see that the rental income will be able to service the debt alone. Then your contributions can then be used to reduce that debt, and hopefully by the time you get to retirement, the property's all paid off, you've got the rental income coming through as a pension, and the property's doubled if not tripled in value, and you get to sell it in pension phase and pay very little tax, which is the ideal outcome. Now, why would you then consider commercial? Well, commercial's not so much about the capital growth that you're going to get, but it's about the rental return that you're going to get in the meantime. So let's take that same $300,000. We go and buy a commercial property, but this time instead of 60% loan to value ratio, we buy at 70% loan to value ratio. And then if that property has, say, a net rent of about 6%, then at a 70% loan to value ratio, even if you're paying 7.5 or 8% interest, that rent is still enough to service the debt, which means your contributions can then be used to pay down the debt in the super fund. The more the debt is reduced, then obviously the less interest cost, and therefore the rent can then speed up the debt reduction process. This usually means that you have a property in your super fund unencumbered, generating a high amount of rent in the shortest possible time. So what does this really suit? It suits people that really are tailoring their retirement to having a high amount of cash flow. They may have other assets in their super fund that are going to do the capital growth for them, but this commercial property, this is all about drawing through the rent as a pension in retirement in the lowest possible tax effective manner. So how do you know if having a property in self-managed super fund is going to suit you? Well, here's a couple of key things to think of and to see if it's going to be appropriate for your set of circumstances. So number one, how much money do you currently have in your industry fund? And this can be for 2 people combined, or you can actually have a family group of up to 4 members. So if you have $250,000 in your super fund, or yourself and your partner have $250,000 in your super funds, combined, this might be an appropriate strategy for you moving forward. The next one is time. You need to have a lot of time. So there's high upfront costs, and the only way to recoup them is to have the fund and the property actually do its work. So you're going to need to look for 2, maybe 3 growth cycles on a property to justify the initial upfront cost. Usually say to people, don't even think about putting a property in your self-managed super fund unless you want to hold that property for 10 years and unless you want to hold it for long enough that it becomes unencumbered. So if you're already at age 60, this is probably not the strategy for you, but it's the ideal strategy for someone between the age of 35 and 50 that still has at least another 15 years before they want to start drawing through pension in retirement. The next ideal category is business owners. Now, business owners, there is a little known rule when it comes to self-managed super. So when it comes to self-managed super fund and you purchase a residential property, you have to purchase it off a third party. But when you are purchasing a commercial property, you can purchase it off a related entity. So if you're self-employed, you currently operate a business and you want to purchase your business premises to operate from, that's fine. But what if you already own your business? You own your business in your own business premises in your own personal name or in your family trust. You can actually buy that property off yourself or off your trust and move it into the self-managed super fund, which makes a lot of sense. Now, obviously the goal with this is you build up your business, you improve your premises. One day you'll sell your business, and when you sell your business, you'll sign it up to be the tenant on your self-managed super fund property. So the new owner of your business continues to pay you rent to operate from that premises for the next 5, 10, 15 or 20 years. It's a great deal if you can get away with it. When it comes to self-managed super fund, there is a very clear formula for success. And let me talk you through that right now. The first one is strategy over structure. What are you trying to achieve? Are you looking for high growth? Are you looking for high rental yield? Are you looking for a high cash balance as you roll into retirement? Think about what your long-term objectives are going to be before you go anywhere near purchasing a property. The next one is once you've decided that, then it is structure before asset. So set up your self-managed super fund, do your rollovers, get all your proprietary limited companies set up, work out how this is going to happen before you go anywhere near purchasing an asset. And the last one is get your team right. There is a lot of different people that are involved in this, and you really need to like and trust all of them and trust the advice that they're given. So I think paramount is to have a really good financial planner who can give you the right advice for what's going to give you your long-term retirement goals and also help you with the correct insurances that you're going to need to put in the fund. You need a self-managed super fund accountant who is going to be able to do the annual tax returns and compliance for the trust. You're going to need a really good mortgage broker who knows and understands self-managed super fund lending. You're going to need a really good lawyer because the lawyer is going to help you obviously with the contract for your purchases, but it's probably also going to help you with the legalities of setting up your bear trust and getting that all tidy at the time of purchase. And finally, you're going to need a good property advisor, either a buyer's agent or a property advocate that's going to be able to help find the right property to suit your long-term objectives. A lot of people think that they can do this for themselves, but with such a long-term asset, sometimes people can't see the wood for the trees. They look at the shiny things today, but having another set of eyes to double check what you're doing in terms of asset selection could be the make and break thing. A few dollars spent on a buyer's agent today might make you much, much more money in the long run. And the last group of people that this really suits is couples or individuals that already have a large amount of investments in their own personal name. Maybe they've reached their serviceability caps and they're looking to continue to invest. Your self-managed super fund is a separate entity. It earns its income from the rent of the property that you are purchasing plus your super contributions. Nothing to do with any of your other commitments. So it's siloed. So this is ideal for people that have already made multiple investments and maybe have already reached their cap as far as lending goes in their personal names this is ideal for them. So to summarize, are self-managed super fund properties and self-managed super funds and borrowings in self-managed super still valid in 2025? Absolutely. It's a great tool. It's a great tool for long-term wealth creation. It's a great tool for those that are struggling with serviceability in their personal name. It is a great tool for those looking to dip their toe in commercial property or retain a commercial property that they currently trade from as a small business owner. But it is full of pitfalls, and it really takes a bit of patience, a bit of planning to bring it all together. Surround yourself with the experts, and I'm sure you'll have a great outcome. So, if you'd like to see if self-managed super fund is going to be a good strategy for you, please reach out. Happy to run through the numbers, discuss your specific set of circumstances and whether this is going to be appropriate for you. I'm David Thomas from Trilogy Funding, and as always, I encourage you to like and share this and follow our channel for more videos just like this one.